What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Obsession. I'm Carl Bethy.
I'm Mike Stadler.
Oh, tell you what, Mike. It's midweek here.
It is.
Tomorrow's May.
It is.
Holy cow.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah, we got some stuff happening around. We're doing all kinds of projects on the property. You guys be able to check all that out on Small Property Layouts.
Yeah. Wednesdays.
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, you check it out Wednesday.
Yeah, you can check it out on Wednesday. Yeah. Usually 15-20 minute show, and you guys be able to check all that out. Small Property Layouts right here on Rush Outdoors, Wisconsin on our YouTube channel. So it's pretty cool. Also podcast, which you're watching right now every Saturday at 7 a.m. Questions, Mike? We got questions from people.
Buddy.
This one comes from Kevin from Wisconsin. Wants to know about water holes. Water holes and the truth, are they really what you need on your property? Talk about when water is the most productive and does it really make your property better? Water holes. How was your property here without water?
Sucked.
This sucked.
It was okay. Do water holes help make your property? I 100% believe they do.
I think so. Well, like you said.
You know, food, water, cover.
Yep.
3 things you need
100%.
to sustain whitetails. If you don't have one of those, they're going to go looking for it.
True.
When they go looking for it, they have a better opportunity to get killed somewhere else.
True.
You know. Yeah. So the 3 things that the deer got to have: the cover, the food, the water. You know, obviously, you and I both agree.
Yeah.
You take one away, they're going somewhere to find it.
Yeah. And then
Because they have to.
right.
You know, it's the biggest thing people ask us all the time about when we're trying to help them with their properties. You know, you have to have cover for them, which involves cutting some trees and doing some bedding
I don't want to
improvements.
do that.
And they don't want to do it. Water is another thing. That's a whole other task.
That's expensive.
It is. You know, when we put water in here, you know, we had put in, I think I had 3 40-gallon water holes that we dug in.
Yeah.
And they worked.
Yeah, when they were full.
When they're full, but you can't keep them full.
Right.
I can remember the one year, I'm trying to remember where we were. I think we were at your property hunting, and I sent the wife out with the water tank during the day.
Yeah.
This is October when we're off, and I had her run in, leave it running,
Yep.
filling water holes, and then back out.
Yep.
You know, because the deer are wandering, and especially late
Yeah.
when they're chasing.
Oh, they're really on the
They're
water.
really on the water. Ton on the water.
Yeah. And we found, you guys, just so you know, that the 40-gallon water holes definitely don't hold enough water, especially during the pre-rut and rut. Plus, you don't get that much rain that time of year usually anyway. That being said, we went to 110. 110 is pretty darn good, but they still get down during the rut pretty decent.
Yeah.
Over half down. That was proven again this year at my place. And I have put in now a 300-gallon water hole, and I'll probably put a couple more in as I replace those, 110s. We brought one of the 110s here to Mike's place.
Put 110 in here.
Yep.
The thing is, you got the stream though, at least.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So you at least always have water.
Yeah.
Which is huge. I 100% think it's huge.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
I mean, and the ponds here that we put in, like you have all the footage of it.
Yeah.
You know, we scraped those in, lined them. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of money.
We did it in November. Or
Yeah, we did.
December.
Yeah, I started in December.
Yep.
Actually. And but boy, I tell you, it's a game changer. And you know, we fully transformed the east end of the property into huntable now.
Yeah, 100%. Where
It
the
really
east
wasn't
wasn't
before.
very productive at all. Well, Phil killed his buck this year on the east end right above the water
Yep.
hole. You know, and that's a big deal. Water is a huge deal, you guys. It's like Mike said, one of the 3 main things you have to retain whitetails. Most importantly, it's one of the 3 main things you really need during the pre-rut and rut. Best time of the year. If you're dry, in other words, everywhere around your property is dry, they're going to move. They might come through, they'll transition through your property, but if you had water, they will spend a lot more of their time, daylight activity, on your property, I think.
Because, you know, the does are going to push off too. Because does need the water.
100%.
So those are all looking for water, and your neighbors have it. guess where the bucks are going to be looking?
Right.
Where those does are.
Yeah, and that
You know,
crazy talk, right?
Yeah, and if you're not getting water in the summer and stuff to keep that stuff full,
Yep.
you know, you're gonna have to make sure you stay on it. You know, water holes are great, just get them full.
Yeah.
You know, and make sure they're full, like coming in.
Right.
You know, don't have to be like I did that one year. And I'm just trying to keep water on the property, trying to keep deer here.
Yeah, and that's hard.
It's tough.
Yeah, and that's like we said, the 40-gallon water holes are way too small for doing that
Yeah.
type of stuff. We've actually, if you look at Mike's got like a water trailer, and I've got like a water trailer that we use. And I fill mine right out of the, I'll show you guys in the video here, I fill it right out of the creek.
Yep.
Take a little electric pump and hose it out of the creek and put it
Yep.
into the 55-gallon drum and back it into the 110. I might have to go a couple times because 110 gallons is a lot of water, but fill it up. I used to do it with 2.5-gallon jugs. Woo! That was fun. But like you know, we dug those water holes in here, and right away the very next year you started shooting deer right there.
Oh yeah.
You know?
And the ones we dug, I'm sure Carl will show some of the footage of it here, but we dug in two 25-foot by 25-foot by 2-foot-ish
Yeah.
deep ponds.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're a little bit deeper than that, and they hold. They've held water full
Yeah. But we lined them.
every year. Yeah, they have liners in them. I did buy the heavy rubber pond liners, which were not cheap,
No.
but it's either that or you clay it.
Yeah, and then if they step through the clay and it gets into the dirt below it, basically it's like putting a hole in the liner. It's going to seep through, and it starts to become an issue. Even that.
The liners now, and these are silted in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now
They're not going to go.
they're just going to be ponds.
Yeah.
Just is what it is. Like the deer walk in them now all the time. They're always in them.
Always.
Always on the water.
Yep. The other thing too we noticed, guys, and we did this at Mike's because we put ponds in here, is we put grass or rye or something around the outside edge of them to help take away the chance of EHD at any time. If all of a sudden we had, like last year, we had, how long did we go here without rain?
Well, like I said, that
Yours held water,
yeah.
but
The thing is, the big thing with that putting those in is we didn't put them in the light.
right.
They're not in the light. They don't.
That's true.
They don't get the sun, which is the light is where you get your
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about location.
yeah.
So, location of water holes. We like our water holes secluded in the woods, in the shade, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets some sun obviously going through there, but in the shade. And the reason for that is evaporation.
Yeah.
Is number one. Number two, seclusion for the deer. They're comfortable coming in there any time of day. And you're going to find that the does will bed right next to it anyway.
Yeah, you don't want to, your water out in this big open field.
No.
They're
No.
not gonna like it.
No, and don't put it on the edges of food.
They don't put it in your food.
That's a big loser too. You never really need water at food because when they're eating, they're getting water.
Yeah.
You have to understand that part of it. In the fall, it's a little different, when they're eating dried corn and things like that. But
Well, when we have them on both properties too, is we're forcing them to move. We're forcing their hand.
yeah,
Basically, where they're going to go for water, where they're going to go for food, and then that determines where our stands are.
yeah, hit them on the transition.
So, I mean, that's how you should be hunting them anyway.
Yep.
So it's easy especially if you're putting in your water and your own food. If you're hunting somebody else's property and you really can't do anything with it, it kind of is what it is, and you just kind of put
Yeah.
yourself in the right position.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think Kevin asked too, about the water hole, and do you hunt the transition to the water hole? Do you hunt right on the water hole? Well, my place on the smaller water holes, so the 300-gallon and the 110-gallon water holes that we also have a mock scrape there. And we have a stand on every one of them.
Yep.
So it is a relevant kill spot.
Yep.
Most of those are in transition to food from bed. So we can get in and we can get out without educating the deer. So they're kind of coming in, coming through, getting their drink or whatever there. We either choose to shoot them there or we let them go and they transition through, and when they're gone, we get out.
Yep.
And during the pre-rut and the rut, water holes are a good spot midday for catching bucks that are transitioning between bedding areas, hence this year the buck I shot. So that's kind of how that works. You know, Mike's place here, we've shot, I shot Freak right out of the water.
The Freak came around the water hole.
Yep. And the buck of the year, you shot him.
Yep. I shot Flyer
there.
coming off the mock.
Yep.
Going to head, he was heading to the water.
Yep.
When I shot him.
And then your bucks this year were on the edge of that area.
This year, yeah, I shot them both in the plot.
In that plot, yeah. That plot, particular spot there, you can cover that transition from where the water is to the food plot.
I have pictures of every one of them on that water hole down there.
Yeah.
Every buck.
Yep.
Is on that west water hole.
Also a great place, obviously, Mike just stated too, a great place to take inventory for your animals. You know, water, I think especially on small properties, you guys, I think it's a win all the way around. Now, the other question people will ask, and I just thought of this, and can you put too much water on? I don't know. As long as you're breaking up your doe groups and each doe group has food, cover, and water, I think you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I put 2 big ponds in on 40 acres.
Yeah.
And I mean, it keeps its own deer kind of on one end of the property to the other. I mean, yeah, they travel, but...
You see it with your bucks more than you do your
Yeah,
does.
like we said with, when I killed Whitey never, ever, I had one picture, sorry. I had one picture of him, which is on Blue Collar Bucks' picture of him. In case you guys are wondering, that's our Facebook picture.
Yeah, be sure to check that out.
Make sure you join that. But anyway, that's the only picture I had of him on the east side, ever. Otherwise, every picture of him was on the west side of the property. He never really came past Flyer stand or the water. Where he stayed on that end by that bedding in that food plot.
Yeah. And that's where you killed him.
And that's where we killed him, which is where I hunted him.
Yeah.
Leaner stayed on this side of the property, which is where we killed him.
Right.
And all the pictures I had of him were down here.
Yeah, and that's amazing how bucks will do that. I mean, we see it at my place too, same thing.
And I think they just pushed each other away.
Well, they're both,
I'm going to stay here, I'm going to stay down here, we're good.
They're both dominant deer.
Both older class deer.
Yeah.
So, but the doe groups, I see it a lot because they have the fawns or don't, and you can see the same groups hitting the east water, and then the other ones hitting the west water. So like you said, it's easy to see your inventory, which we talk about all the time.
Yeah, which is real important.
About what you have, if you're going to harvest does, if you have too many.
Right.
A whole nother topic.
Yeah, we can get into that later.
In our 40-gallon ones, and even your smaller water holes, like we left them.
Yep.
We didn't take them out.
No.
They're still there.
Well, I even put one in.
Yeah,
you and I traded. You gave me 2 40s, and I gave you the 110. Yep. And I took one of the 40s and I put it at the very top of the ridge. And when it rains, it feeds down into the water hole. I'll show you guys some video here of bucks and velvet and stuff there. And it held water pretty much most of the year. But as soon as that pre-rut hit, dude, they drank all that water.
Yeah.
It was gone.
It was gone.
Yeah. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, you just can't. You can't. You can't go up there and do it.
No, because it's
just drive up.
Yeah. No, not so much. but yeah, no. And I'll probably take the other one, put it right next to it this year, so there's 80 in there, and then we'll go from there. The hard part about that up there is it's at the very top of this ridge, and you can only dig down so far, and then you hit bedrock.
Yeah. And
it's solid limestone, and so I can only go so deep. So that's why we'll put the other 40 in there, but yeah, I mean, water I think is probably, to me, the second most important thing. The first most important thing to me, you guys, is cover. Cover is number one.
You'll get food.
Water,
Yeah. You got cover and water, right here you'll hold more.
Yeah.
A lot of people, anybody can put food in.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Cover and water is going to control the daylight activity, I think, more than anything else. Food plots are great, don't get me wrong, if you have your own property, it's a necessary thing to have, but if you're hunting public, if you know where the water is, where the cover is, you're going to have the end of the deal. That's pretty simple. So, I mean, I don't know. You got anything you want to add to that? Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for the question, Kevin. If you guys get a chance, you can check us out on any of the podcast outlets.
They're all of them.
Check them all out. Check us out every Saturday right here at Rush Outdoors, Wisconsin. We appreciate each and every one of you guys watching.
Check out Blue Collar Bucks on Facebook. It's our site for everyday hunters. Just enjoying what we do. There will be no bashing on there.
No wedging.
Guys, girls, kids, everybody, throwing it up.
Be happy, be proud of what you shoot. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, buddy.